Potent adventures and potent experiments. That's what I'm up to here. And today I'm going to give a presentation that I gave at my BNI chapter to sort of give explanation about my business. So this is the last page of it. So we're going to go to the first part. So the big thing is I have been in my business defined a couple things in the last couple months about how I'm running the business and where I'm going with it. And these two things that I've got going on here are there's stuff that I tried to do kind of as a combination with the business. I tried to have them both happen at the same time, and I've found that really I've kind of got different clients that want to kind of make things happen, to sort of produce organization in their environment, and then move forward like with that, and really kind of keep the things going that they want to have going. And then there's the other side that I thought that was that I was going to make all of those clients also want this and get into it, when it's really more about kind of exploring what's going on in the brain and experimenting and seeing life as like this cool experiment, which I've been doing since I was 5, but more recently found someone, her name is Joycelyn Campbell, or Campbell, I guess I've been saying it wrong, who really kind of helped define a lot of this for me and like said, here's a route we could go. And it's just been really exciting talking about how the brain works and all this sort of thing and exciting stuff, which is one of the things that I'm constantly talking about on this here channel, of like how I'm training my brain to actually experiment with my life more as opposed to just think it has to be a certain way. And on that note, I'm sharing this particular slideshow and presentation, and I'm going to see if I can get better clarity for myself, but also communicate more clearly with folks so they understand what's going on with the business. And this time, I'm going to be focusing more on, what it is, how I'm separating the two, and so that people who want to can refer people to me for my organizing business. And that's what I gave the presentation for, because that's going to be more the thing in BNI that I'm wanting people to send to me, because I think it's easier to handle and it's just much more straightforward. It's like I come into someone's space and I make things work for them better than it was before, and more of what they wanted. Whereas the other one is something I can talk to them more one-to-ones on. So there's a 30-second ask thing, as you can see here, because in BNI, it's a group of people, business people, that get together every week and talk about their business, have an ask, and then later on they have testimonies as saying, oh, this particular other business in my group, they did a great job, or BNI is great. So BNI stands for Business Network International. And it's basically networking is what it's a big part of. But another way I look at it is advertising by word of mouth. So we getting to know these folks and building that relationship. And then when they hear someone, they can say, oh, I know a guy, when they come up with a situation that, would want to hire me. So that's what BNI is. And it's been a neat experience that I've had for the past year and a half. And I'm seeing how that works for me, and if that's getting me what I want, which is a bigger reach. And originally I thought I was going to be reaching to, yes, help people organize so they could do the things they want and create what they want. But then I also thought that I was going to get into their work with their how they want to see the world. So work with their brain and explore that with them to say, oh, maybe we could do this and that. But that hasn't been huge for a lot of my clients that contact me to like declutter or move or whatever it is that usually they'd call an organizer for. So that's why the separation. So they've got this making things faster. I'm organizing the client's world through the skills that I already have, and that I'm making things happen. I'm reinforcing the objectives that they already have put forth. Whereas with the other one, I'm transforming the mental model, which you can't see behind this little head, this helmet Um, so through their clients' experiments. And so that's more, I'm not just saying this is how it's going to work. I'm creating a structure, a mental structure, for us to really continue to see the world in more of an experimental way and creating creative tension as opposed to just psychological tension or just trying to keep things status quo and that sort of thing. And so with making things faster, or more producing organization, that is not so much trying to change the way people think, whereas the other one is really transforming the way that my brain works for me, and so I can get what I want, and really kind of see how I'm kind of able to mess with that. So I'm disrupting the status quo with that one, um, and that's pretty exciting to me. But and then this is the point where in the actual BNI meeting, when I gave this presentation, I asked the people in the audience to kind of actually say, what am I doing? And then asked them, why am I doing it? And it was good to get that feedback to see what they were hearing, because I hadn't been very clear about what I was doing. I hadn't been clear to them, and I really hadn't been very clear to myself. I didn't know what I was doing, and so this presentation is kind of a culmination of me sort of identifying, oh, I'm doing this one for income, and I'm doing that one because I'm just curious about it. I mean, people don't have to pay for the workshops if they really want to engage the information, and that's something that I'm kind of interested in doing, is just finding people that are interested in the conversation and want to get involved, and just see where that goes. The reason I have the money, the price on there for it is because it does take up time, and if people want to recognize that this is something they can and want to invest in, like, I want to give them an easy route to make that happen if that's what they want. But I'm pretty engaged in actually having the conversation with them too, just for that sake. So one is for getting things done, maybe creating things, and that will create flow. And flow is this term that was really coined by Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi in his book Flow, the Optimal Psychological Experience, or something like that, where he is explaining how he studied happiness for 15 years, but in that process, he found out that people really weren't describing like their really optimal experience in their brain when you asked them, what do you do for happiness? They would say things like sitting in front of the TV, but your brain is almost shut down at that point, and there's not engagement, and it's not life fulfilling. So flow is this optimal experience where you have the challenge that you're at, and it's neither too much challenge for your brain or too little. It's like just right in here where you're actually growing and making more happen with your brain, and or getting in the zone of what you're doing, and you're able to make something and create whatever it is, and you're going, and that will happen more with the organizing of people's spaces. Whereas when I'm examining your interpretations, like thinking about how your brain is working, all that, there can be flow in doing that. But it's not exactly guaranteed, but it's also, which actually is an opening, like the fact that we don't have the guarantees. But it also means that I've got some more defining of what that means. I mean, it's an exploration. Something I could have explained earlier on that I just now realized I didn't point out is I've got a helmet on both corners of these two things. And so I've got the one that's the helmet for biking, because that's more for organizing people's places and stuff. That's more for going down paved roads, or, mountain bike trails, or something that's really been worn in, and it's obvious where you're going, how you're going. There's all sorts of systems built for that already, and you just sometimes just have to figure out the right route, and I can get you going there. And it's like fast and speedy, and really slick and easy to do for me. Whereas the other one it's kind of a construction helmet, but it's also a caving helmet, which I've also done caving, and that's one of those things where you go into a cave and you can't figure out where you're going simply on just saying, go this way, that way. It's it's just a bizarre space. There's like Jewel Cave. In order to lead Jewel Cave, I had to go through that 4 times and 1 time backwards in order to be able to actually uh, be certified as someone could lead that. So I had to lead it 4 times and lead it backwards in order to be certified. Because you come into a space which you could call a room, but it's not really a room, and it has all these different avenues, and it's just exploration. And then you also have this tight beam of where you can see, and there's so much that's hidden from you. And so that's kind of the difference between the two. And so if people really want to make their lives go faster and make the things happen quicker and more efficiently, I can make that happen. And in the other one, if you really want to explore what's going on in your head and maybe how we can transform that to get more of what you want, that's what the other one is. That's the presentation I gave, and asked for questions afterwards. But obviously, no one's going to be able to give me a question here. I guess you can post it on the thing down below, and I will see that later, and I can give you feedback there if you want. And I look forward to seeing what that turns up. And hopefully, this clarifies things for you. It would help me clarify how I'm talking about this and kind of creating conversation that I'm getting income through organizing people's homes and businesses and their spaces and their digital stuff. And I can't really force the exploration stuff into that. And it sort of throws people for a loop. And when they're actually interested in it, then I can sort of segue over if that's what they're up for. Or I can say, great, you pay me. I created a greater space for you to do what you want to do. And we both win that way. And I don't have to try and force in this rather disruptive idea into their world, because that's not going to help them, and it's not going to be using my time well. So I'm pretty excited about doing either, and I look forward to answering any questions you guys have about that. Keep the sparks flowing. Now I got to figure out how to turn this thing off, because there we go. And